Equity Bank fires 2,000 employees. 2,000 people have lost their job in Equity Bank. And do you know the reason behind that? The conflict of interest. You remember there was a time I came here and I made a video about the same bank firing 1,200 people. You remember that time? Now they have fired 2,000. And according to the reporting by the CEO of the bank, who is James Mwangi, says that they ran what we call an audit to the employees from their M-Pesa transactions, that is mobile transactions, and also the accounts on the banks. And they realized some some unexplainable inflows of cash. And they were all subjected to what we call, the audit, because this ought to be audited. I mean, it's no brainer. And then they were unable to explain, okay, why have you received this money? Why did you even receive this money from a customer? Why are you having this kind of a cash on your M-Pesas? Why are if you have a business somewhere, well and good, I mean, if you can justify that is okay. I mean, because, I mean, unless if you're doing a business that it's a conflict of interest with the bank, it's like you being employed in a bank and you have a bank running somewhere. It's like the way we usually see doctors. You are employed. I don't know where you usually have that arrangement in your country, but in Kenya you find a doctor has a dispensary somewhere, so he can actually send the clients or the patients to the. Anyway, let me not get there. So the point here is, let me just get you some of the facts here according to the reporting. The 2000 exit of a suspicious fraud. The mass termination was triggered by an internal ethics and conduct audit. The matter reportedly started with comprehensive internal audit focused on employees and integrity. The audit flagged suspicious inflows of funds from customers into individual staff accounts and mobile wallets. Let me explain this in a very simple words. You go to your employee, let's say you are the CEO of the bank, and then you realize your employees have received some cash into their accounts from the customers. Who are the customers? Depositors, people who are taking loans and what have you. So they realize there's some sort of like inflows of cash and out of the same reason that we had last time when over 2,000 of them were fired, or rather 1,200 of them were fired. So we are reporting the same scenario. Yes, it's true. You remember there was a time, last reporting, when the 1,200 people were fired, there were some issues where people were saying, hey, you go to take a loan from a bank, and then whoever is supposed to send or approve that particular loan, they tell you, hey, give me a kickback so that I can sign and approve this loan. Or if you get this loan, then a certain percentage of is mine out of that loan. So those things are quite popular, and that's why these people are being fired on that matter. Now, what happened? Employees who were unable to provide adequate justification for these customer-linked funds were deemed to violate the bank's ethics policy that was subsequently exited. Now, what happens is that those terminated received only basic dues. Those who were terminated, okay, the bank was a bit decent, yeah? They received their basic dues, forfeiting long service benefits. Imagine, they forfeited the long serving benefit. I mean, if you're employed somewhere for a certain period of time, I mean, seriously, you need to part with a certain fraction of, benefits. Let's say you've been a branch manager for like forever. You've been one of the best employees, quote unquote, and all those kind of things. So they forfeited all that long service benefits. A strong signal of the group zero tolerance to policy towards conflict of interest and insider dealings. Insider dealings, by the way, I'm telling you, it's quite popular there. How many here have ever tried to go to a bank and sign a loan? You know, you go rounds and rounds, you are told this and that, oh, you can't do this. For example, I had a client, I don't know if I should say this. Let me not say it. Yes, you go rounds and rounds and rounds. Actually, I had a client from the same bank that fired 2,000 employees. And the client was not satisfied on what happened. Yes. Personally, I've dealt with somebody who was, let me not get there. Now, the point here is, these guys were fired. They lost their job. Before I give you something that I'm about to share with you here, let me say something here. There's something called the shared prosperity and rewarding integrity. The same bank that fired 2,000 people, guess what it does? Improved, or actually what we call increased the employee salary who are found to be integrity they had no integrity compromises and something like that. They were good. They were rewarded. Imagine they had a 20% increment on their salary. In other words, if you are earning 100K in a month, now you'll be earning 120K. So a whooping 20,000 has been added on top of that. I'm using a case scenario of someone who is earning 100,000 salary. You get that? Yes, they were told, hey, you know what? We didn't find any issues with you guys. You're okay. You mean you're good ambassadors of our bank. Guess what? Boom, 20% was increased on their salaries. And as if that's not enough, can you imagine this? They increased who? The equity group. They increased the entry level of the permanent job from 65,000 Kenyan shilling all the way to 116,000. So if today you get recruited by the bank and they employ you on the permanent basis, the entry level salary was 65,000. Now it will be 116,000. That is close to doubling. But now this comes with a fair share of costs. Can you imagine this? Now the wage bill of this particular bank, the wage bill, this is the money that you use to pay the employees, all the money that you need to, not the employees, all the standing costs, the rent, the permit, has added up to 28.5 billion. That is now the money that they're going to be paying for the wage bill. This is where you, to make sure that the bank stands and everything runs, seamlessly and what have you, paying the employees, paying the electricity, doing the water thing, rent, because most of the banks do not own the premises where they usually operate from. They actually rent. So they have actually upped their wage bill to 28.5%. But it makes sense. I mean, if you are the CEO, you would sit down and ask yourself, between me adding the employees the salary, I mean, those who have the integrity, those who are reliable, you'll actually save a lot than that what you're losing from these crooked people. There might be 2,000 people, but they are doing mess in your business. Can you imagine 2,000 people in a day, they steal, let's say, for example, 1,000 shilling? That's over 2 million. I mean, if you do the mathematics, me adding the salary to the oncoming permanent members vis-a-vis, rewarding those who are already existing there, probably it is actually means business. So those are some of the decisions that you have to make as a boss somewhere, as a leader or something like that. The lender also raised the entry level permanent salary. Yeah, that's what I've mentioned, from a 65,000 to all the way to 116,000. Okay, for those who may not be familiar with shillings, that's like 116,000. That's like approximately almost $1,000. Yeah, almost like 900 and something, almost $1,000. This move is part of the bank's formalized shared prosperity. I think that's one is self-explanatory, which explicitly ties employees' remuneration more closely to the financial performance and ethical success of the business. Now, when it comes to the management, is betting that the combination of significant better pay and dramatically tough ethical standards will create an environment where the incentive to commit fraud is drastically reduced. Yeah, to some extent. That one is debatable to some extent. A thief is always a thief. Even if you triple their salaries, a thief is always a thief. That's a fact. That's why I always tell people, you try to rehabilitate somebody, they still always go back to the mud. We have an African saying, particularly in my community, that even if you take a pig, we have a perception that a pig is a very dirty animal. So even if you take a pig and wash it, they still go back to the mud. So yeah, to some extent it will work, but to some extent it doesn't. So that's why I say it's arguable, it's debatable. I remember there was a country, I really wish I can remember that country. They said that, hey, instead of the police doing the corruption and what have you, let's double their salary. They doubled, but still corruption was still there. Because stealing, thief is just a thief anyway. Now, spending a compliance and ethic training searched by, they actually embarked on the, let me not read all that. That one you can go check it out there. So anyway, the equity group, or equity bank as we know it, because most Kenyans know it as an equity bank, but it's largely owned by the equity group. They have actually fired 2,000 employees for that matter of conflict of interest and what have you. So guys, that is it. That is what exactly is going on right now as we speak. So I hope you as a customer from that bank, you've not been affected. And if in any way or the other you have been affected by such activities, kindly let us know on the comment section. Tell us, maybe you went there to take a loan, maybe there you went to take a mortgage, you know, they were taking you corners and something like that. Just share that on the comment section. You know, in a way we can also establish that indeed that what the CEOs or the management of the bank think was actually justifiable or something like that. I'm pretty sure in one way or the other, or some of those employees will go to court, you know, to, you know, obviously, so that at least they, you know, they can say, hey, we were fired, we were dismissed in an illegal way or something like that. So anyway, guys, you let me know on the comment section. And by the way, don't forget to hit the like button. Make sure that you subscribe and you leave a comment on the comment section. This is Good Joseph, as always. If you need my services, that is my number. Pick it up there. Shoot me a text on my WhatsApp. Let's talk business. But for now, it's a goodbye and see you the next one.